Back to another Axel 72 video, and in today's video, it's a pleasure to be joined by Troy Williamson. Troy, how are we, man?
Yeah, good mate, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And I suppose for anybody who may not have heard of you, you're a 32-year-old super welterweight who's 23-1, if I'm right in saying.
Fine. 24 fights, 20 wins, 3 losses.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, we'll start off with the question which I first like to always start off with, and that's going right back to the very start and just asking, why did you start boxing?
I started when I was 10. Back then, obviously, I was too young to compete. I had to be 11-year-old. And 2000 found kids that have been in the gym for years. Didn't really enjoy it, so I left boxing, went and played football. I was the age of 16. A boxing gym opened up on the front from where I lived, so I went up to the boxing gym. At the age of 16, I was there a couple of months, and I had my first fight at 17. So I started pretty late.
Indeed, and I suppose for somebody who's been in sports since a young age, has it always been something in which you've encouraged other, I suppose, kids to get into, a sport in general young?
Yeah, I've always loved boxing, so I've always looked to fighters like Mike Tyson or Jones Jr. They were me idols growing up, so yeah, I've always loved boxing, and like I say, obviously when I walked into the gym, I never looked back even after that.
hmm No, that's amazing to hear. And do you remember that of your first, I suppose, maybe amateur fight or just fight in general?
Yeah, it was the first time to fight on Halloween, 12th, 2008, in my hometown, so I'll never forget that.
No, did you end up getting the win?
Yeah, I got the win there.
Yeah.
It was a good fight. I'm actually a good kid. Callum Lynn went on to good things, so wasn't the easiest to debut. It was a fighter.
No, I suppose speaks about you just in general. I'll touch upon it more in a little bit later on, but just your willingness to take tough fights.
Yeah, that's what I'm in the sport for to fight the best. I believe to be the best, you got to fight the best. So never back down on the challenge. I've always boxed who've been put in front of me, and I've been involved in some great domestic fights.
Indeed, you have. And like I say, I'll touch upon that in just a moment. But when you do look upon your amateur period, do you look back fondly? And what are some of your favourite memories from them?
Yeah, obviously I'm proud of my achievements in the amateurs. Like I said, I started late, but
Mhm.
I caught up pretty quick. I was boxing for Great Britain after 26 fights, so that's an achievement in itself. Traveled the world boxing, traveled some countries I would only dreamed of visiting. So yeah, just some great memories that I made and some great friends along the way.
hmm Most definitely. And I suppose when you did go through that time of turning professional, why did you choose to do it when you did?
And because at the time I never I didn't get to go to real games. I'm proud I did, and it was just a case of do I stay on for another 4 year period? Because when you're on GB, when you sign a contract, you're on for an Olympic cycle. So you sign on for 4 years. So it was either re-sign with GB or turn professional. And obviously, I was 26 at the time. If I stayed with GB, that means I'd have been on since till I was 30. So I was getting on a little bit, and I decided to turn over.
No, it makes sense. And I suppose, you're glad that you did it when you did, and you went through that whole kind of prospect phase, which a lot of fighters have gone through. And do you kind of did you enjoy that period where perhaps you were fighting opponents where you knew you were levels above, but it was learning with every fight?
Yeah, when I turned professional.
hmm
Yeah, obviously, you go through that stage when you're boxing training just to um, obviously build your name, build your brand. But yeah, it was quite hard because I was going into fights, obviously knowing I was going to win, really, but obviously I was obviously still training as if it was like a world title fight. I was like, even though I was fighting a journeyman, I'm supposed to win. I never took it lightly. I was trained 100%, and yeah, it. I stopped quite a few of my early fights, which I was meant to be giving around. So it obviously led me in good stead to obviously going on to become British champion later on.
Hmm. And I suppose you'll never hear a fighter say that they're going to overlook their opponents, but I feel like sometimes they do, kind of subconsciously. And has it always been something which you've made sure that you've never done, never overlooked an opponent?
Yeah, I've obviously I've gone into fights like believing that I'd win, being confident I'd win.
Mm.
I've always trained like 110%. I've never put any corners, whether it be with my diets or anything in the ring or anything. So I'm a true professional. Obviously, I live and breathe boxing, but I've always like had that mentality where I've always believed I was going to win. But I wouldn't say I've looked over an opponent. No.
Mm. That's brilliant. And when you look back upon some of the big fights and the big nights that you've had, which fight do you look back upon most fondly?
It's got to be winning the British title.
Mhm.
Um, obviously it was a big goal of mine and became reality. So yeah, that was a proud moment. So yeah, that's obviously got to be the highlight of my career so far.
Mm. And how much history does that title have, and how prestigious and important was that to you?
That was unbelievable because I think for every British fighter's dream is to become a British champion.
Mm.
Obviously I'm trained by Craig Canny, a local amateur boxing club,
Mm.
Phil Thomas School of Boxing, and him and the other coaches that bred champions from schoolboys, youth, juniors, all the way up to seniors, and Craig always said that he'd love to have a professional British champion, and I was just to do so. So yeah, it was a really proud moment.
Mm. No, that's amazing to hear. And in other fights in your career, you have faced adversity. And how have you managed to be able to deal with that adversity?
And I'm just scared and I'm strong-minded. Um, yeah, I've gone into fights. I've gone into fights injured and managed to win, but then also gone into fights injured and fell short. Uh, so yeah, I'm a strong-minded person. So yeah, that's it really.
Mm. Yeah, you have to be in this sport. And I suppose when you speak about possibly going into certain fights injured, do you have any kind of maybe regrets in your career, or is it just, whatever's happened, happened?
And I always look back, never ever get just a lesson learned. I'm a big believer in that motto. Um, if I do look back, there's things that I probably would change, but obviously they were my decisions, and I made the decision to box. So yeah, no regrets.
Hmm. And when you have been in the away corner for certain fights, have you maybe for the first time when you was in the away corner, did it feel different? Did it feel strange for you?
No, not really. No. Still confident. Obviously, every time I step into that ring, I know that I've done my work.
Mm.
Uh, in the ring, I know everything. So yeah, there's never no regrets. With a win, lose or draw, obviously, I know that I've put in the work. So yeah, when I'm in the away corner, it's a ring at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what's here, home or away or what.
Mm. No, I agree. And do you feel like there has been recent decisions where people have perhaps blamed themselves being in the away corner for them to not get the nod? And do you feel like that is something that is a problem in boxing?
I wouldn't say it's because of the way corner. I have seen some bad decisions.
Mm.
The only person you blame is the judges really. Um, whether it's a way corner or home fight, I've seen some bad decisions either way. So I wouldn't just say that's just an away fight that gets bad decisions.
Mhm. No, I agree. And do you feel like there is anything in which can stop these decisions from happening?
Been saying that for years and nothing seems to happen.
Mm.
Um, to be honest, it's pretty sad because you see some fights, and the scorecards are just ridiculous.
mm,
One from the weekend, Australia dropped off.
mm,
The 117, 111. I think it was, I thought Jack Battle won, don't get me wrong, I thought he won by 2 rounds, probably push it three, but six rounds advantage, I think it's a draw.
mm. No, definitely. And are you watching British boxing and thinking that it is in a good position at the moment?
Pardon?
Do you think British boxing and the scene it's in is in a good position at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's fine at the minute. I think His Excellency took the old shake
Mhm,
from Saudi Arabia. I think he's doing great things, bringing the two biggest promoters in the world together and to making all these massive fights that everybody thought was impossible. So, yeah, I think British boxing is doing good things at the minute.
definitely. And when you look at some of the opponents you have fought, is there nothing but respect between all of your ex-opponents?
Yeah, definitely. I respect everybody who gets to know him. All my previous opponents, whether I've beaten or whether I've lost, I wish them all the best moving forward.
Mm, no, that's a brilliant mindset to have. And I suppose mindset-wise, what would you say currently is your main motivation for the sport?
Getting back to winning ways at the minute and carrying out a bit of an injury. But also, I've been in the gym since I was boxed. It's what, coming up 9 weeks. So hopefully, I'll be getting back in the gym this week.
Mhm,
Um, Hopefully, get a fight date the end of the year, September, October.
mhm,
I'm working towards and get back to winning ways. And obviously, I'm moved to 160 now. So my main goal is to become a two-time British champion and then push on from there.
mhm. No, it's a great goal. And when you are in training camps and you have a big fight lined up, ideally, how many weeks are you wanting?
Uh, I probably need 9 weeks or something now, but normally I'm always in the gym ticking over, so whenever the platform goes, I'll be ready in 3 or 4 weeks. But like I say, I've had 9 weeks off the gym now, so I need to get back in there and make sure I'm 100%.
And are you making sure that with every fight that you go into now, you are 100%?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I've learned off my mistakes. So yeah, moving forward, I'll just think of myself and yeah, make sure I'm 110% before I get in that ring.
Mhm.
It's a vital stage of my career now. Obviously, I'm moving on to the second stage of my career, moving up to 160. So, yeah, I can't have no stills now.
Definitely. And I suppose you've kind of said, you said you want to become a two-time British champion. And is that, in a year's time where you'd like to see yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously get this fight on the way. My next fight September, October, and then I'd like to be mixing it with the best in Britain again straight away. Not getting any younger now, and I've proved I'm well capable of competing at that level. And I think 160 you're going to see the best of me.
Mhm. Definitely. And maybe to an extent, in recent times of boxing, we've seen some great champions become champion or get big wins when they are perhaps at the older stage, maybe late 30s and things like that. And do you feel like to be a boxer, you don't necessarily, they talks about primes and things like that, but you can have them late primes.
Yeah, definitely. I listen to deep boxing. I don't go drinking. Uh, obviously, I don't smoke. My downfall is to like a little bit too much chocolate. But,
Okay.
yeah, I think at the weight above 160, I think everyone can see the best of me. I think it's my natural weight.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm going to be a lot more explosive, a lot more fitter, stronger. And I'm looking forward to it.
And when you speak about distractions from the outside world, like drinking, smoking, partying, things like that, have you ever really had to struggle with maybe them distractions?
No, I never, because I've never, I've never the word there. I've never involved myself around them sort of people. Um, Obviously, all my friends, they all go to the gym, whether it's just lifting weights, play football. My brothers are all sporty, they all play football, so never been involved with that sort of crowd, to be fair, so it's never been a distraction.
Mhm. And I suppose, have you learnt that it is just so important to have a good team around you?
Yeah, 100%. It's boxing is a very fickle sport. Everyone wants to know you when you're winning.
Mm,
Once you lose, I've seen some friends when you're winning, like they're around you, ring you all the time. When you lose, you don't hear from them. So yeah, obviously I got on one hand. I'm gonna send down for how many people I really trust. So I've got a good team around me, and I'm happy with how it is.
mhm. And maybe if you were to give advice to any fighters who, are going through that prospect phase and get to a certain level and then suffer a defeat, what advice would you give to them?
Just got to keep your head on. Um, every great fighter loses.
Mhm,
It's how you come back, how you bounce back.
mhm,
Get your head keep your head right. Don't let it get to you too much. Get straight back in the gym. Work towards the next day.
mhm. Most definitely. And I appreciate your time, Troy. I'm going to leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. And it's basically just to open up the floor to you. Is there anything you want to shout out, promote, anything like that?
Yeah, so I just want to shout out on these supporters. They all know who's been there from the start. I've got the same team that followed me from my debut all the way till now to when I'm in a box. Whether it be down with me overseas, that could be a last minute thing. They'll travel, they'll book over. Yeah, it's like shout out all my sponsors, on all my supporters, and my missus and my little son Cassius. That's what keep me going. What drives me on now.
That's amazing, man. And I really appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure speaking to you today. And I wish you the best of luck getting back into training. And hopefully, not too far now, we'll maybe see a fight date announced.